Hi guys, welcome to Web Technologies. We'll be talking about PHP Form Validation. Why validating an HTML form, the client-side validation is not only enough. Since our web application allows outsiders to enter data, server-side validation is also required for additional security. We are going to see how to validate a form using PHP. We have a registration form containing name, password, email, and gender fields. All the fields are mandatory and should not empty. The email should be in correct format. We're going to check this validation on server side. PHP provides the empty function to check a variable if it's empty. We are going to use this function to check if all the text fields are empty or not. We are using the isEt function to check the gender radio button if it's checked or not. And we're going to be validating the email format by using the PHP filter variable function, which we're going to actually be doing right there. So we have the form looking this way. I'm actually using the localhost XAMPP. You could actually set up XAMPP on your machine, either on Linux, on Windows, on Mac operating system. Just set up XAMPP is quite straightforward. So you have an Apache, you have a MySQL, and you have a MariaDB right out of the box for you to use. So we have the form setup, the username, password, the text, display name, address, email, and gender with the submit button. So I will be heading straight to Sublime Text so as to actually see the source code of this particular form. We have it right there called the register.php. Right there, we're going to actually talk about the validation of each of these fields. Where we're going to be talking about the email, the gender, and so on. Firstly, right there in the PHP, we count for the post if it's greater than 0. Probably you've actually not posted anything. So you're going to validate to ensure all fields are not empty. So a for each loop is going to run through the post, and we'll have that in key value pairs. And if the keys are empty, it's actually going to spit out an error. So we have the first word. If this is empty, which is the field which is required, we're going to actually validate about the right format of the user email, which you can see right there. Use when we have to post the key of the email, and we point the filter validate email. This is a function out of the box from PHP to actually validate a correct format of email address. So if there's an error, it's actually going to say there's an invalid user email, and at the same time it must not be empty. Cool. Using the ifSet method, we validate the gender using the isEt method to get if the gender is checked or not. You also validate the checkbox, which we have right there for the terms and condition. So you have to actually check the terms of usage in the form. And if it's also set, so you have to say the user registered successfully. So you use the isEt method to actually keep tag on any empty fields. This is the form where we have the body of the form called the form registration, and right there in this is an echo, which is actually going to spit out the message, which is the error message, which can be gotten from not filling the form correctly. And we have the table setting out the form, the row and the column, the tr and td for the registration form. This is firstly for the username, and the value will be passed into. You have to set if you've set the username, is actually going to echo out the username, just trying to process the form further. And if you actually set the password, it's just going to echo that out. And we have for the user type, this is when you make a selection for the kind of membership you want, and either premium or we have for the display name, we have for the address, the email. So this is actually going to echo out the corresponding values, and also the radio button for the gender, either male or female, and the check button for the accepting the terms and conditions. So that's the general overview of how this code is. So we have a style.css to actually style the header of the table, to give a background to it and the color, and also to make the font weight bold. It's also applicable to the row, give a background, and they give the text color a white. And the message that will be spelled out, which is actually going to either be an error message or a successful message. So you have that also styled appropriately. So I'm actually going to do a test on the form. Let's get to create some empty fields and see what we get. Let me take that out. Let me take out the password and let me submit. Let's see what happens. The username field is required. Then put in a username instead of an email. Let me just put in the username, Dilaroy. Cool. Now it's going to ask for something else. The password field is required. Okay, let me put the password. Let's call it Dilaroy as well. All that thing will be required. The user type field is required, so you can't just, so you have to select which kind of membership you have. A premium user. The display name, let's call it Dilaroy Studios. All fields are required. So what happened? The user address field is required, so I need to still continue to fill further. Lagos, Nigeria. Let me submit. The email address required. Dilaroy for you at gmail. Scam. What else again? The gender field is required. Male. So what else again? You need to accept the terms and conditions. So finally accept it. If you notice, the server-side validation is quite much effective than the client-side validation using JavaScript to validate your form, because the browser can be disabled of JavaScript. So how will you get to actually undo this once the user have disabled JavaScript running on the browser? So it's now left for the server side to take responsibility of the validation, which is very, very important. Now let's submit and see what happens. Cool. You have registered successfully. So you've done that successfully. You've posted the form and the values have been passed along to the appropriate endpoint to consume. So cool. This is just how to set up a validation to all fields, even using an email address, and make sure all fields are not empty. You try to set up the first level of validation to the kind of data that is passed to your database. So thank you guys for hanging out with me throughout this tutorial, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll be coming up with a bunch of videos when it comes to PHP development. I'm right back on course to actually help your web development skills. Bye bye for now.